My community-based research question relates to helping low-income families in our community. Habitat for Humanity gives another chance to those families in need. Habitat for Humanity has helped thousands of low-income families around the world that need a decent place to live. Everyone deserves a comfortable place to go home to every night, and as a community, we are responsible for making that happen. Habitat for Humanity helps families around the world build their futures. I personally have worked with Habitat for Humanity for quite a while, and I really appreciate the work that they do for communities all around and bettering the neighborhoods in all aspects. A little bit about them. According to learningtogive.org, Habitat for Humanity International is a nonprofit Christian organization that partners with future and current homeowners to build simple, decent, and affordable housing for low to very low income families. They reside in Atlanta, Georgia, where an international board of directors oversees the work for Habitat for Humanity. So this includes all of the administrative staff, professional support employees, and volunteers. From what I read and just from what I know, volunteers are very, very important. I mean, if you just think about it, without the volunteers, then how would Habitat for Humanity really get any of their work done? Of course, everyone is important in this aspect for making Habitat for Humanity work and for any nonprofit, but volunteers are really what makes it happen and continues its growth. Habitat for Humanity works in nearly 1,400 communities throughout the United States and in 70 countries around the world. They help those in need of an affordable home to be strong, stable, and self-reliant. That's what Habitat for Humanity is all about. They believe that everyone should have a good place to live. I have been involved in different public service work and volunteer work over the years that have helped communities make this difference. I worked for Habitat for Humanity, and I really helped those families that were in need of rebuilding their future. It was the families community that I worked with that reached out to the organization to help them because their home was not comfortable for them anymore. Without this organization's help, many families would still be living in rundown houses that are not up to standards, just houses that they should not be living in. Habitat for Humanity helps families across the globe based on a few different criteria. They look at how much the family is in need, how much money they make, things like that. If they are willing to work with their organization in the future, like if they're wanting to be a volunteer or if they have been a volunteer with them, just how involved they are. Their ability to repay a mortgage with an affordable payment plan. That is the third criteria. And that one is also very important because if they can't support themselves enough to repay a mortgage plan, then it's really not feasible for them to get a house. When Habitat for Humanity is going through the selection process, they have to keep in mind that they need workers to build every house. So they look for applicants who are willing to invest their time, their energy, and just mostly time in helping them build other families' homes. So that's what they really look for. So when a family in need wants to help other families in need by giving the organization hours of their labor, they're more likely to be chosen. And that's definitely what I've seen from my experience with them. So this organization believes everyone should have a good place to live, and we need to make sure if someone in our community fits these qualifications that we do help them, and we reach out, and we better our community in that way. Now, Habitat for Humanity does work with the government to increase support for affordable homeownership and decent housing, but the organization keeps an eye on public policies regarding houses, community, and international development, and advocates for policies that will increase access to decent, affordable housing available to people around the world. Habitat for Humanity says that they do accept government funds, but it's only as long as they don't have any conditions that would violate their principles, or I quote, principles or limit our ability to proclaim our Christian identity, which is from habitat.org, their main website. So if you need more information on that, then you can visit their website. But even though they do accept help from the government, it's very minimal, it's very limited, and it does not account for the majority of the funds that the organization receives as a whole. About 50% of Habitat's revenue comes from individuals, which is from bridgespan.org. They are a global nonprofit, ecumenical Christian housing organization that does not discriminate against anyone based off of race or religion, which is on their website as well. They have a policy that they will help anyone in need and welcome volunteers and supporters from all backgrounds. Whenever I was a volunteer and I helped Habitat for Humanity, I built a house on a mission trip to Springfield, Illinois. But I did not only help build a house. I helped clean up this elderly woman's backyard. Her fence wasn't up to the city's standards and it had to be replaced, or actually had to be completely removed altogether. But she could not do that on her own. I believe she had a knee surgery. She really couldn't do much. So in return for all of us on our mission trip for removing her fence from the ground, which took hours and hours of labor, she made us lunch, she gave us drinks, and she was just really nice. She told us stories from just her life, and the whole trip was just rewarding within itself, really. Everyone I worked with was extremely helpful and kind. The construction workers were patient with everyone that hadn't done much, hadn't had much building experience, which I was grateful for because I hadn't. And the family that the house was being built for, they were also very nice, and they did help in any way they could. They had 2 small children, so that was limited a little bit, but they were really nice. They were definitely a low-income family, and they really just needed a decent place to live, and they didn't have that. So, like I said, I helped the neighbor fix up her yard, as did everybody on the trip. There were a large amount of us. And so that's something that Habitat for Humanity wants everyone to know, that they don't only build houses, they also help just the community as a whole by fixing up yards and different things like that. We collected brush, lots of tree limbs. There were trees that were cut down, which not anyone from my group did that, but then we would take them and we would dispose of them properly. But Habitat for Humanity helps improve homes and assists with strenuous physical activity when the homeowner is not able to do so for themselves, like the lady that I was mentioning. So from my experience with this community organization, they are reputable and want to make sure each and every family gets the help and the need they deserve. It's fairly easy to become a volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. There are several options for volunteering as well. You don't actually have to be there on the site to really call yourself a volunteer, but you can volunteer locally. You can travel and build. You can volunteer long-term or short-term, or just as part of a group or a special event. It can be a one-time thing. It can, be ongoing. But if one wants to be involved but, doesn't really feel like helping in the building process because they don't feel very skilled in that sense, you can always donate. So Habitat for Humanity does rely on financial donations to do the work that they do, so that is always very much appreciated by them. They accept cash donations, or many locations have restores. Here in Kansas City, we have a restore. I believe it's on North Oak, so you could always go there. You can actually, that's where they sell reusable and surplus building materials like furniture and appliances to the public. They sell that to get money for the organization, but you can also donate those supplies as well. And all this information is on habitat.org if you're interested in looking that up. But Habitat for Humanity, what I really like about them and how they set up their website as well is that they asked homeowners, volunteers, and staff to answer what home means to them. There were a lot of different answers, and they were very heartwarming, and they reminded me of what the family said whenever I helped them out in Illinois. So that's a good thing to read up on if you have the time. Ethical problems that were encountered, when handling the selection process, that's hard to get around, but it was a difficult decision to decide which families are given houses and which ones aren't, but you have to go through that selection process. That's the only fair way to do it. It is hard whenever it's within your own community to not be biased, because you might know someone or you might know of them, and you have to put all of that aside, and the best way to do that is to have a selection committee, so you're not the only one that's making the decision. And that's the way I went about it. And so the aims of my project were not only to build low-income houses, but to also better the community, like taking out the fence, like I said. So we not only built houses for those in need, but we're doing small projects around the neighborhoods for those who couldn't do them themselves. I first helped spread the word by letting everyone know what we intended to accomplish in their neighborhood. I found some very willing workers, people that had done it before, and they were good to help out every day. They were very helpful. We had the equipment we needed because they already had it. I also had to educate myself a little more in the area of public service to see what my next steps were going to be because I never held a position quite like that. But a lot, came out of this project, a lot more than I expected. The work I've been doing and the people I have talked to have really encouraged me to get involved with Habitat for Humanity or even just another nonprofit organization if Habitat for Humanity didn't work out. But I've always known I did enjoy helping others and making a difference, but I didn't know that what kind of career would give me that satisfaction and fulfillment at the end of the day. And just from this experience, I now know that I want to pursue a career in nonprofit organization because I want to help those in need. I want to be dedicated to helping those people, those low-income families. And I want to make a difference and be a part of someone's life like that, really influence them. And this is why I decided that I'm going to be furthering my research on Habitat for Humanity and seeing what positions would fit me best. I was told to research more about a volunteer coordinator for a starting position with the organization as well, so I have been doing that. And I also love the fact that I want to help Habitat and they want to help me in return. And that was a really great feeling, and I think that's something that that's definitely something that I appreciate about that organization. And I just encourage everyone to look into Habitat for Humanity and see a little bit more of what they're about and what they can do as an organization to help communities all around us, because it's really not as hard as you think. They work tirelessly around the clock to help thousands of families in need around the world. Volunteers and employees give up hundreds of hours of their time and their energy just to help those and give back to the community. And they can't do any of this work without people like us lending a helping hand. And if you have never helped Habitat for Humanity or any other community-based organization before, I would say start now because you won't regret it. It really is just a reward within itself, and I highly suggest it. It's very rewarding, and there's a lot of people you can learn from. It's just a great experience. And just in conclusion, I want to say again that Habitat for Humanity believes everyone should have a good place to live, and it's our duty as a community to make this happen. Thanks.